Hello. How's everybody doing today? Mike Turnquist here, team leader here at Group 4610 EXP Realty. Going to talk about market statistics. Whoo! Yeah. Anyway, super pumped and excited to kind of go in depth in a little bit about different segments of the market. We're going to start specifically in one segment that's really active. We're going to talk about others. So if you are interested in a particular segment of the market you want me to do next, let me know. But today we're going to be talking about entry-level properties, specifically condos in Atascadero. So pretty excited about that. Let's get right into it. So, why condominiums in Atascadero? Seems kind of a weird spot to start. Well, it is really an active portion of the market, and it's entry level. So we hear all the time about bumping up against the affordability of San Luis Obispo County, and home prices are too high, all that good stuff. So where do home buyers start? Sometimes they can't afford a $400,000 or $500,000 house right off the bat. So a lot of first-time home buyers are stepping into that condo market, which is fantastic. It's a heck of a lot better than renting, and there is some really good condos on the market. Now, I specifically took Atascadero because they seem to have more condos available than, say, Paso Robles or other areas in the North County. But you can apply these trends to almost any of the condo markets in the county, and even in the low end housing markets. So uh, that's why I started here. I actually had a client where we went over this in depth, face to face, and it was a really good appointment. So I had the data available. I'm ready to go. So if you have interest in specifically your neighborhood or your price range or whatever, happy to set a one-on-one for you guys so that you can really ask all the detailed questions on knowing what's going on in the segment of the market that you're interested in. But let's get right into it. So here we are. Um, Average sales price here on the market, right? So here's that shows you the kind of the appreciation over the last 3 years, right? So condos in Atascadero 3 years ago, January 2015, were under 250,000. Now check this out. They've gone up and they're approaching 350,000 on average, right? And you're probably asking, why is there just all this jaggedy, right? Because what you have is you don't have a large pool of data to pull from. We're not selling hundreds and hundreds of condos every single month. So some months you have the low end condos, some months you have the more expensive condos, some you have a lot, some months you don't have a lot of sales. So it really messes with the average. So what we want to look at is the trend line from here to here. And you can see that the market has appreciated significantly in the last 3 years. So some of the data that we're going to go for is, we hear this all the time. Well, are we in the middle of another market crash, right? Should I wait? Should I wait? And I'm going to let you make that decision for yourself, but I'm going to say no. If you are renting right now and you can purchase a condo or a home, now is a great time to do that, despite maybe missing the boat. Yeah, we wish we had a time machine and could have gone back to this 250 mark. Your payment would have been less, but we can't go back in time, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about where the market's headed, and we're not headed for another crash. So check this out. So you can see the active listings are seasonal, right? Everybody says, well, I'm going to list my property in spring. And that's essentially what happens. A lot of people don't want to have their house on the market during the holidays, which I kind of tend to disagree with. It's a great time to have your house listed for sale because look at your competition. It's low here, lower here, goes up in the spring, and look at it right here. It's low again, okay? And then it kind of creeped up. So that said, there's more selection in the springtime, but there is less active, and it's kind of seasonal, right? So check out the average days on market. Now, this is a trend that's a little different than the rest of the market where we see days on market lengthening, right? So days on market were well under 30 days 3 years ago, and they've kind of gone up, right? And they were a little bit higher than the rest of the market, but look, they've significantly dropped down as the rest of the market has picked up, and maybe a mid-level single-family home has become less affordable for maybe the entry-level buyer. It has created more demand in the condo market and in the low end of the market. So that's why we see days on market have actually dropped under this $400,000 mark, where the rest of the market, days on market, has gone up. So that's a pretty good statistic. Okay, so months of inventory. So back up a little bit, real estate 101, supply and demand, right? We label months of inventory as whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. So that cutoff is about 6 months of inventory, right? So if nobody else put their home on the market, how long would it take for all those homes to sell? And if it's under 6 months, it's usually a seller's market. The lower in months of inventory, the more of a seller's market it is. You get over 6 months, 10, 12 or more, then you have what is a buyer's market. So in contrast to what happened in 07, 08, 09, up until 2010, we had well over 6 months of inventory. That's what created that downward trend in pricing. And it was really a high buyer's market. So if you take a look at this market here, 3 years ago, we had almost 2 months of inventory, and it creeped up to three and a quarter almost, somewhere in the last couple of years. So that's still a seller's market in that sense. Now, like I said before, the higher demand for this price segment, caused by the affordability of the mid-level to upper ends of the homes, has created more demand for this level because buyers are trying to get into the market and this is what they can afford. So look at the inventory has dropped dramatically from where it was a couple years ago when everybody was like dying to get in the market. So that's the trend here in this entry level segment of the market. So when you ask me, are we in for another market crash? This is the graph that tells me absolutely not. This months of inventory would have to go well over 6 months. The days on market would have to go way high as well in order to cause that price depreciation. So we come back to this average sales price and you see this trend line that goes like this. That trend line isn't going to be like this anymore. It's going to kind of go like this in this current market, right? So, but it's not going to go like this. Does that make sense? So it's a simple supply and demand. There's still more demand than there is supply. Okay, and this chart right here, active months, inventory months of I'm going too fast. I'll slow down. Okay, inventory months supply, right? You can see currently we are still under 2 months of inventory in this market, right? Take a look at this graph. Average percent of last list price received. Okay, so ignore this blip because what this graph is telling us is how much negotiating power do the sellers have when they actually receive an offer, right? Obviously, sellers have an advantage when there's multiple offers. So high demand, low inventory, you're going to have multiple offer situations. So looks like sellers are getting almost 99% of what they're asking. Okay, so that's really good. And the reason I have this as last list price is because that's the price that generated the offer, not necessarily the original list price where prices have come down or they've made adjustments to the price. And I want you to kind of ignore this 1 month right here because you probably had not a lot of sales and you had one condo that maybe they really gave it a significant discount. Maybe there was some motivation. So the market is still healthy for the sellers, getting close to 99% of what they're asking for. So if you come in and you go, well, the market's different and I want to lowball a condo seller, you're probably going to end up very frustrated in that sense. Okay, so again, average sales price, you can kind of see the trend line has gone up. That's a real similar graph to that first one. And so long story short, month supply and demand. Market in this low end segment is actually much healthier than it is in the other segments of the market, you know, the $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 price range. We're going to go into those maybe next week. But check this out. If you are renting right now, let's say your rent is $2,000 a month, you're just waving goodbye to $24,000 a year versus taking advantage of this price appreciation. So there's a lot more benefits to owning a home, and these numbers here just tell me right now it makes 0 cents right now in this market to rent. Okay, so if you can't afford, reach me out. We could discuss your options. I can hook you up with some of the best lenders in the industry that can really pencil this out. So if you have any questions on what we talked about here, let me know. You guys all know how to get a hold of me: call, text, email, DM, whatever it is. Pretty excited about this info, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye bye.